and welcome to our podcast, The Journey to CEO Success. I'm your co host, Melissa Saunders, along with Patrick Tian, award winning entrepreneur, CEO coach, and a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best selling author. His latest book, The Journey to CEO Success, is the inspiration for this show. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Melissa. Good to be here for the show today. Awesome.
Thanks. And I have a treat for our listeners today. We get a 2-for-1er. Our guests are the president and vice president of W.H. Bagshaw Company, Aaron and Andrea Bagshaw. They are fifth generation, that's right, 5 generations of one of the oldest precision machining businesses in the U.S. Together, they've guided the company through significant transitions, including a major facility move, that's not easy, and strategic initiatives to strengthen culture and operational excellence. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Great to be here. Honored.
Thank you, Melissa.
It's awesome. It's awesome to have you guys here today. So first, welcome to the show. And I have to say, wow, 5th generation company. We're going to get into that. But before we get into that, please share with us a little bit about what your company does. What do you guys do at Bagshaw?
Yeah, it's a great question for such an old company. We started out in the textile industry, servicing the textile industry, manufacturing pins. So a pointed wire product. Think of a throwing dart, the actual point of the throwing dart. Literally made billions and billions of needles.
Very small stuff, right? Really fine things.
Yes. Yep. Small, palm of your hand type of stuff, right?
Yes.
So 1870, established in Lowell, Massachusetts. Really, industrial revolution, and that was a textile mecca, one of the large textile regions in North America at the time. So we were in a good spot. Company was established by my great-great-grandfather, Walter Henry Bagshaw, and his pin concept came from England and France, and he had the idea and the concept that he brought with him over to Lowell when he set up shop. So that's the real kind of nitty-gritty foundation of our establishment, but really servicing textile industry, manufacturing pins.
Now, today you guys serve all kinds of industry, aerospace. I mean, anyone. So tell me a little bit about who your customers are. Is it anyone who has machines and stuff that needs really fine, high quality machine parts that are strong in what they use? Is that who?
Yeah. So really, where you see our products now, we're a job shop, so we're manufacturing to customer specification. Customers print. In a lot of cases, our parts that we manufacture make other parts work. We don't make a finished part. We make a part that goes into a ventilator. We make a part that goes into an airplane. So we're making little parts of things that make big things go.
Gotcha.
That's our niche, and it's tight tolerances. It's precise and detailed little parts. Again, palm of your hand.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you for introducing your company. Now, our podcast is really about helping CEOs have a more joyful and successful life. So it is. I think this is the first time I'm having the opportunity to interview somebody who's been with a company, or I should say, is the 5th generation of a family business. I think that's incredible. In fact, I was just counting, right? You, dad, grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather. It's like, that's incredible.
Right.
So tell me, share a little bit about the journey of your ancestors. Like how are they able to keep the family business going from generation to generation?
It's an interesting question. So if you were, I say we made billions and billions of pins. We happened to be really fortunate where we had the machinery to manufacture massive quantities. 1920s, 1930s, the Victrola record player is established by Thomas Edison, who invented the technology, right?
Yes.
So we're able to manufacture the phonograph needle, and without that phonograph needle, your record player is useless. So we are a vital component to the modern introduction of entertainment in your home.
Wow.
And without that needle, It's kaput. So just what I'm saying is that probably really pushed us from the 20s up to the 40s. At one point, Patrick, we had one order for 1,750,000,000 photograph needles. One single order. So I say that we have a big poster in our new facility here that describes that kind of that story, right? So that pushed us probably 20 or 30 years.
And for our younger listeners, they may not even know what the heck that is. I mean, we're talking about the albums, the phonographs that play, and you had this beautiful record player with the arm and the little needle
Right.
sat on it to play the music, right?
When I bring kids and students through, I tell them it's the first iPod ever invented, and they get all excited. They get all excited.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one.
But that, so you're talking about generationally, how did we kind of progress through that? I think that pushed us along. And the textile industry, Adria and I will say it all the time, is that it's amazing how long, like if you look at how the length of the industry and how it still is involved and still happening, and we were able to be a part of that for so long. The life cycle of that is pretty amazing. You look at how quickly new technology today comes and goes, and it changes. There were pins involved in the textile industry that really maintained through the last 50, 60 years, and still today are part of the technology of textile manufacturing. So we were fortunate to be involved in that industry, as I think it's been a really expanded time frame. But so, I think that pushed us another, 20, 30, 40 years. So being involved in these industries, I think, was really beneficial for us generationally, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
But how did the family members decide to get involved in the business? And then we're going to get to how you decided as well. But I think, your family must have done something different that worked, obviously, that got family members interested.
Yeah.
Continue the family business and tradition.
I think I think Adria and I say to our kids, the sixth generation, it's an opportunity. There's no need, there's no requirement that somebody in the family has to be involved in the business, but there's an opportunity. And I think taking that pressure off of the generations allows them to want to be a part of it. Right. And I think that's been our approach. And I feel like that was the approach with me as well. So
that's the approach your parents took with you.
Right. Same approach. Right. It's an opportunity for you to have a good life.
So you, as a child, when you were growing up, did you feel like, hey, this is what I'm going to do? Did you feel like this is your destiny? Did you work somewhere else first before?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't. When I was younger, I didn't feel it was my destiny. And if you talk to my friends, they will say, "Of course, Aaron, it was always your destiny." so they knew, right? They knew.
Yeah, you just didn't know,
right? And I think that in and of itself is important, right? Because if it was chosen, if it was my destiny, I don't think I would have been as emphatic about it, as into it as I am now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's.
So what do you love? What do you both love? I'll let both of you to answer this question. Actually, what do you both love about the business? What is it that makes you feel like, hey, I love coming to this place, and like you said, it's your choice, not your destiny. It's your choice. Your wife is your destiny, but your work is your choice. So.
Adria, I'd like to give you a shot.
Yeah. So, I mean, ironically, my first job out of college was working in a machine shop as a supervisor. Like, there was nothing about Adria Bagshaw or Adria Presence at the time that screamed, machine shop factory setting. It just happened to be a company that I really liked. Their core values, their culture really spoke to me. So I got my foot in the door there doing that. So I learned that manufacturing was the perfect blend for me of analytical work and all of the HR stuff that really is magical and allows you to impact people's lives. So that today is still what gets me up and going, is knowing that we're helping people improve their lives, giving them opportunity and the ability to grow. I mean, who gets to have their name on the door and be the fifth generation we're out in the world advocating and talking to, our government liaisons. We're talking to other machine shops. We're advocating for the industry. It's, a really cool position to be in because we've been around for so long.
And how did you find that? How did you find that this is what you enjoy doing? I asked this question because, data would tell us that you spend about 70% of your waking hours at work. And I think it's amazing, and it's a real blessing when we can actually work in areas that we love with people that we love. Otherwise, you're spending 70% of your life like on stuff and with people you don't enjoy. So tell us how you got there so that our audience can kind of think about their own journeys for themselves as well.
Yeah, I'll jump in and then let Adria jump in as well. If you were to look at our business today, Patrick, walking out on our new factory floor here, you would see a completely different business from 2 years ago. And then I could, from 10 years ago. So we've been given the opportunity to really shape and change the business. So it's, Adria brought this one up. She said, we're like a 155-year-old startup.
Yes.
And that is really, really true. So you go out on our floor and there's brand new machinery making new parts. So, we look completely different than we did in 1870. And I say that because 10 years ago, we didn't. 10 years ago, we looked the exact same.
Oh.
So it's an amazing transition over the last 15 years from when we brought in our first CNC machine in order to make these precision components. So I think, what drives me every day and what excites me every day is growing our business and change. Those are the two things that really fire me up to get into our new building and grow this business. And it's unique to us now. It's been, we've been given this opportunity to really shape and create something special again.
And Adria, how do you feel about change? Do you embrace change as much as Erin just shared?
It's a constant effort to do that. We just had a curveball come up last week, and we thought a big HR thing was way behind us, and it popped back up. And, I had probably a few hours where normally it would have taken days for me to get there. But I thought, all right, there's got to be a reason this is happening for us, not to us. And how can we come out of this even better? We pulled the whole company together, talked about what was going on, shifted our mindset, and somehow magically the issue sorted itself out before it even came to resolution. But, just learning to lean into those changes and think about how you can leverage them for good, even when they feel nasty and bad. Because they're not always, on the surface, they're not always good.
Yeah.
Adria, talk about our one-page strategic plan in 2010.
Yeah,
was that the first year we did it?
I think we learned about it in 2009. Erin and I together have been using the tool. We had 5 big initiatives that we've been slowly working on. And we went through the whole process, just the two of us, and we shared with some members of management what we were working on and why and what our objectives were. But when we made the leap to really join forces with you, we pulled the whole management team in, and we have our whole plan up for the factory to see. So that's really neat. But so much of what we started working on in 2010 has come to fruition, and they were big long-term objectives. We had a pension that was crippling us, that was underfunded. We were able to resolve that. The next one was around ownership. We owned none of the company. Erin's dad at the time didn't own any of the company. So we, over time, have become 100% owners. Feels great to control our destiny. I am going to speak very euphemistically and just say we wanted to improve employee relations. We had a union. And of course, it's not up to us as management to get rid of a union, but the employees wanted the union out. And that is a big, big accomplishment. It helps us be more agile and competitive in our field. Big proponents of unions in the right setting, but it wasn't right for us. So those are the first 3. The fourth one was getting into a new building, and we accomplished that in Q1 and Q2 of this year. And then the final big one is to scale the business so that we have redundancy in management, so that We can step away when we need to. And when we're ready to turn the business over to the next generation, there'll be a level of management to help bridge that gap.
It's so amazing, Patrick. Sorry, we look back at that 2010
Yes.
plan, and we're just so amazed at how we accomplished everything. It's writing it down is a very special thing. Writing
Yes.
it down and keeping track of it. It's
I got to applaud you guys. I mean, that is really, really inspiring to be able to go back to a plan in 2010 and to look
Yes.
at, wow, these are the things that we've accomplished. So congratulations.
Thank you.
We've got 15 years using the plan, just the two of us. So we've got another 15 to use it with our whole company.
Powerful.
And it's just really exhilarating to think about what we can accomplish with all of us on board using the tools. So
Now you guys refresh the plan, update the plan every year, right? But now you're making me very curious about, like, in your plan, is there a nice, beautiful, long-term, big heritage goal that you guys are charging towards? And you're nodding your head, so I took the risk, and I think my risk is about to be rewarded. So I promised you we were going to have fun on this podcast.
Oh my
And-
Yeah, I
gosh.
love it.
I'll tell
So,
you, we've
yeah,
been
tell-
working with Courtney
yeah.
and Allison, and we have so much fun. Normally, if you told our staff that we had half a day of meetings, they'd be like, "Rah." We had the best time working with your team. So it's all been really, really fun. Do you want to share our BHAG, Aaron? Do you have it right in front of you?
I was going to let you do that.
I'm going to let you do that.
That should be rolling off.
I know. I just don't want to trip up on the language.
Yeah. We want to be the leader in advanced manufacturing solutions. So advanced manufacturing solutions
Yes.
through talent, technology, tradition, and trust.
Okay. Awesome.
We want to be the leaders in advanced manufacturing solutions.
Awesome.
And that's, I mean, when you look at our technology on our floor now, that's what you see. But we want to see more of that, and we want to take it to the next level. Always thinking about taking it to the next level. So, yeah.
So your I would say that your employees choosing to not have the union there tells me that they're actually happy with you guys. So employees who are not happy with ownership would not be suggesting that we don't need a union. So first, I want to congratulate you and your
Thank you.
employees as well. Again, nothing against unions. I'm just saying, typically, if an employee base is not happy, they would not vote to ask the union to leave. So I think that you guys are doing something really right, and I'd love to share a little bit about, there's a couple of things I want to kind of dig in the few minutes we have. One is your employee happiness. What are you doing to do that? And secondly, I want to go back to change a little bit, because in my experience, change is pretty hard to do. I mean, typically we don't want to change unless the pain of not changing is greater than the pain of changing, because there's this thing called inertia that makes us want to cling on to something that's familiar and easy. That being said, for your company to survive 5 generations and thrive, I know change is something that you do well, because if you don't, you'd be stuck and you'd be eaten alive by the next generations of companies that come by.
Yep.
So what do you do that actually if you can share a lesson or two about those two topics, employee happiness and also how do you actually get people to be joyful about the change?
Yep. Adria, do you want to comment on the employee?
It's core values. We have been very mindful about the culture that we've set here. And everything's a double-edged sword. I think most about empowerment. Empowerment's one of our core values. We are really, really hands off. We set goals, we set targets, but we're not micromanagers. And that was the tipping point for us deciding to sign a contract with you guys, because on the other side, when you err too much on the side of empowerment, you lose accountability. So
Yes.
having these metrics and KPIs gives us a level of accountability without being so hands-on and micromanaging. So it's really allowed us to leverage that core value of empowerment. But I think that's a big driver of why people like being here. But our very first core value is family. People really enjoy feeling like they're part of an extended family here, that people look out for one another. We're professional, but we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs. We share personally. An employee who's been with us 12 years just, ducked his head in yesterday and said, my God, my wife and son are in the neighborhood. Can they come in? And everyone came out to greet them, and the dogs were running around. And, we like having that casual work atmosphere. I think it really resonates with a lot of people.
I call that the whole life experience. I
Mhm.
think some of the younger generation, currently, I think a lot of companies, a lot of people are saying, hey, to have balance and separation of life and work. But I really think that we only have one life. So that's why I say, look, you're going to spend 70% of your life at work. You better like it. And but you only have one life. So I kind of call it the whole life approach, that you enjoy life at the company as well. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Change management.
Yeah.
Yes, change management. Sure, it's secret too that help people, because you guys have definitely done a good job with change.
Yeah, I think on that aspect, Patrick, we there's always a better way to make it. And sometimes you get good processes in place and you're efficient and you make it well. But there's places on our floor where we can make things better. And I like to ask that question when I'm on the floor, if there's something coming up. Is there a better way for us to make this? Is there a more efficient way? Is there a safer way? And I think kind of getting that into your mindset is helpful, because they know on the floor that, okay, maybe there is a better way, and let's have that conversation. So don't be stuck in hey, it's always worked this way. Let's make it this way. There might be a better way.
And I think you guys actually have to model that, because saying one thing but having your people, what I've learned is that do what I say, not do what I do. That just doesn't work. So you can say whatever you want, but how you model it is what people then get comfortable with, understanding that, okay, I do have to let go of certain things and embrace the new stuff. So what do you think it is that you do that models that behavior so that people can adopt quickly?
Well, one of our stories, stories become part of your culture, right?
Yes.
One of our stories is there was a pin that we manufactured the same way for 50 years. The way this process was created had an entire wastewater treatment facility. There was an entire little micro company set up around the way we manufactured this one pin. And I said to one of our employees, I said, there's got to be an easier way to make this. There's got to be, because we're looking at so much to do this. And asking that question allowed us to actually manufacture the part completely in a different way, and to eliminate all these ancillary support factories that we had set up in our factory to manufacture this pin. So it's a story now, part of our culture, and it's something that we did, and that's how we approach it, right? So I think that backs up kind of the what we do and how we do it.
Yeah, stories work.
Yeah,
stories work.
Yeah.
So tell us about your kids. How many kids do you have?
Good question.
So yeah, I wanted to say we're fifth generation, but we've got 2 kids that are active in the business. I mean, they've grown up here. They've been part of new hire training. They've, been on work trips. They visited customers and vendors. Our daughter's been to, I think, 4 conferences now with our trade association. She's fully involved. Our son runs machines. So they're all in, which is great.
So what are the names and how old are they?
So Kyan is 21. He's going to school for exercise science. He wants to be a pitcher. We have a side business making wood bats. So
He is a pitcher.
Oh, wow.
sorry, he is a
He is
pitcher.
a pitcher.
Wow.
So he really resonates with that end of the business. He's done incredible work representing us at shows and working one-on-one with customers. And then our daughter will be going to UNH this fall. She's 18. She's really into video editing right now. She's very creative, loves marketing, but she's going for business, and really just plugged into everything we're working on.
And how did you involve them, or how did they get involved
Good question.
in the company?
So that's actually how I came to work here. I was working for a contract manufacturer when we were pregnant with Kyan, and I fully intended to go back and put the baby in daycare part-time. And then I realized I didn't want to put the baby in daycare part-time. So the company was in a bit of distress, and Aaron was bringing on a new ERP system. I had expertise. So I said, why don't I just come in with the baby and we'll at least help out for a little while, and then we can figure out the next step. But I just kept adding time. So our kids have literally always been in my office, the baby gate.
Yeah.
They would come in the morning, make their rounds with me or with Aaron. And we started introducing preschool when it was appropriate, but they've always been here, snow days, holidays, a lot of family trips
So
together.
it's been part of their life. It's just part of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, I'd love to know, for all of the husband-wife teams out there, what is the secret to a joyful marriage when you also work together?
I know that one. Talk about the company 24/7.
So that it really is hard. Our family life spills into work, and our work life spills in at home. So I think for us, it's always important to get out with other people. If the two of us go out on a date, we usually are talking about work and the kids, but the conversation tends to expand, and we reflect a little bit more at a high level when we're out in a bigger group or with another couple.
Melissa, I would say laughter is a pretty good one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Adria makes me laugh.
That's good. Yeah. If you can laugh every day, I think that's definitely a secret to happiness for sure.
Yes.
You guys get out of the office a lot? Do you go on vacations?
We have a lake house in northern Vermont. Because of the move and all of the, our daughter graduating, and our son went to the World Series this year for D3 baseball. We haven't been there much, but we're looking forward to some downtime together. And, since COVID, we know how to work remotely, and everything's been just set up for online work. So we're able to keep productive and keep moving and still get away a little bit. But we're more and more involved with our trade association as well. So we travel a few times a year with those folks, and it's been invaluable networking with other businesses and learning from them and sharing our story. So,
yeah, I would say, I don't know if it's Patrick or Melissa asked the question, but our trade association is, I think, a big influencer, especially on our daughter and her involvement. Adria, I'll toot your horn for you here. She's president of the trade organization in October 20.
I don't. It's bumped out a little bit. In a couple of years, I'll be president.
She's the president of our trade organization, which is the PMPA. We should mention that.
Yes.
Precision Machine Products Association.
Awesome.
So very proud of her for that. But we have brought Maya, again, just opportunity, right? Why don't you come up to California with us? Why don't you come to Arizona? Trade organization meeting. What's that? Just come. It'll be fun. So she's been able to, at a younger age, start to see these people and recognize these faces who also own other shops like ours. And she's able to now kind of have these conversations with these folks without us in the room, right? She can have the conversation. And that, I think, is super beneficial, because mom and dad can only go so far, right? And then it's, thanks, mom and dad. Great. I don't want to hear from you guys. But she's hearing now from other people in our industry,
sure,
that about who we are, like from our peers' perspective. Yeah. And then she's able to digest that, and she's able to get more stories about our industry and our people. So I think that's been an integral part of her coming into the business. She's really, really loved meeting these people, and she's been now she's a part of this trade organization almost before she's really a part of the business.
That's wonderful.
Which is really interesting. Yeah. So I think that's been a really important step for her.
So for audiences, I want to just point out that is a gem that Aaron just shared. I think having your children learn from the other people around you and seeing is so much stronger than you telling. Also, I think, to summarize some of what I've heard, your children being able to see your joyfulness at work in the industry, not just at work, but like at the PMPA association, stuff like that, it really helps them see what mom and dad is doing and enjoying. So thank you so much for these points of wisdom. So the last question I ask all my guests is, because this podcast is really about helping CEOs have a joyful and successful life, not just successful but joyful as well. I'd love to know what is one piece of advice you could leave with our audience to have a more joyful and successful life. And I'd love for both of you to answer that question, individually, so we can get 2 points of wisdom out of this podcast for that.
Mine's simple. I'll go first. And, really it applies to work as well. Write down your goals. It's so powerful. If you have a dream to get somewhere, to have an experience, to own a thing, to achieve a thing, write it down and share it, and you'll make it happen. So that's my big advice.
Mine is find your people. So whether it's, so if you're in a business, if you're in something, you've got to have a network that supports you, whether it's family, whether it's a financial support network, it's your banker, it's your industry people. And you've got to find those people, right, that believe in you. Because otherwise it's hard to move forward. It's hard to progress if you don't find your people that are going to be on your side and in your corner all the time.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's fantastic. Melissa, back to you.
Yeah, no, great advice. I love the 5th generation business. It's actually now, can we go ahead and say 6th generation? That's
not official.
More time.
I'm not sure if there are probably a handful of companies in America who could say that. So congratulations. Imagine all of the changes that have gone through, and the company is even stronger today than it ever has been. So thank you both for being here and sharing your advice on business and marriage and kids. I think our audience is really going to get a lot out of that. And thank you, Patrick, for sharing your time and your expertise as always. And until next time, go out there and enjoy that journey, guys. Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.